Okay, here we are to talk about the new album, number 15 in Voivod career. What a journey, 40 years of Voivod. I guess even all the members of the band are surprised of this longevity and people are interested still in your music.
It's amazing, right? I think the guys never thought about it when they started in '83. I guess they imagined they could do it for a while and then have a normal life. But it's amazing. I really respect long bands that have long careers. It's so difficult to have a band and put out albums and be constant in the quality, and that to keep your fans as well. We have amazing fans all around the world that supports the band, and they get the Voivod universe, they understand it, and they're part of it. So it's quite an amazing journey.
And it's curious that I think everyone in the metal scene thinks that Voivod is a band that have something special, different.
Yes, that's how I've been in the band for 14 years now. But I've been listening to the band when I was 11 and 12 years old. I discovered Voivod, and that's exactly what drew me to Voivod, is that this is really different.
Yeah.
This is not the same kind of metal if you compare it at the time to what was growing the thrash metal scene, the Bay Area. It was totally different. It was a mix of European and American, but still had more influence from the progressive rock and punk mixed together. It was so strange that I got hooked right away.
It's been 4 years since the wake. I suppose with the pandemic you have more time to work in new songs and the way of doing the job. This is something that musicians explain usually, actually, and in the last interviews that we have done here in the show. During the last 2 years we have time, we work in those songs in a more relaxing way. Is the same for you?
Not at all. Actually, it was very different for us because we were touring still for the wake. We were waiting for a date to confirm again, and we knew we had to work on new stuff. I already started in 2019, 2020 to work on new material, but then everything stopped, and I started right away to record ideas, and we kind of lost touch with each other. We started to jam new ideas, but we have to stop because there was a confinement, a lockdown. So we could not go to... you're still there, yeah?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, your image is frozen. But we had to stop... jamming, rehearsing together. We had to stop, and so we couldn't continue to write in that way. So we lost touch with each other for a while, and we had the streaming shows. There you go. We had the Dimension Atros and Nothing Face album, and we played it live in the streaming shows, and we had projects like that. So it took time to do that as well. So we kind of wake up in last July or June saying we have to write the album and complete it. But we only had the little riffs in here and there, and we didn't have the chance to play together. So we set up a deadline with the label, and we started to work very intensively for the next 4 months. So I started to organize riffs, and actually the drummer started to organize riffs together that he thought they would go well together and kind of structure songs, even program drums without music so I can write something on it. And so we went back and forth, away and me, a lot, constructing the structure of a song. And I told him, even though tonality, keys of different ideas doesn't fit together, use it anyway. I will change it if it doesn't fit. So he would put two riffs together because musically, rhythmically it worked. But if the tonality didn't work, I will rewrite the part in the tonality that is connects to the other part. And I never wrote music that way. I really tried to write from point A to point Z in a song, telling a story, so to speak. But we welcomed this challenge as a creative way of doing things differently, and I'm sure it shows on the album the state of emergency we were in, writing music very, very intensely, almost like having a gun on your head, and try to finish the record, and it gave us the spontaneity, and to trust our instinct, and to take decisions very fast. This is gonna be that part, there is gonna be the solo, this is what we do here, etc.
This is one of the bad and the good things of technology right now, because it's a good way to play in the same room, rehearsing, trying different ideas. But with technology, you can work separately, send files, and for example, right now here, you are in Canada, I'm in Catalonia, and we are talking like with no problem.
It's the best era so far to have a pandemic.
Good point.
We can communicate very easily, though the human relation, the organic connection is suffering. So we met there. After that, I made demo. I recorded a lot of bass ideas as well. I arranged the songs, and we went to the studio to jam together to see if it works. Only 3 days, and then we started recording after rearranging some part. And I remember Snake writing lyrics in the kitchen table just before going to record it, because he's inspired by the music, but the music was not done, so he could not write the lyrics.
Yeah.
So it was really intense, but I think the result is really good, and the Synchro Anarchy, the title, reflects that state of mind that we were in.
And tell me a little bit about, you mentioned the recording process. Tell me a little bit this recording process and the production, because I guess it's very different listening your words.
It was I did the demos, and I programmed the click tracks and the ghost tracks, so Away could play the drums by himself without anybody. And so he started to record the drums, and I did the guitars after that, and then bass and vocals were done. So it was all separate, but it was really effective, and it was the same studio with Francis Perron, who did the Wake, and he recorded and mixed the EP Post Society as well. So, and he did the streaming shows with us, and did the live sound a few times. Big fan of the band since 25 years or so, 30 years. So he knows the sound of the band, he knows the lineup, and we have a good communication with him. And he's when something is in his idea is wrong, or if he got an idea, you just tell it, and there's no filter, and we accept ideas and we discuss them, and it's all for the songs to be better, Mm-hmm. So the process is really good.
Talking about some songs of the album, obviously talking about music, a song or an album for me could be a masterpiece, and for another person could be a completely crap. It's very subjective, the music.
Yeah.
But for me, for example, 3 songs that takes my attention is especially is Sleeves Off, with this energy punk, to say in some way. Holographic Thinking have a positive atmosphere that for me it's strange for Voivod. And The World Today, with this heavy bass during all the song. What do you think of these songs, for example?
It's hard for me because I don't have any perspectives on it yet. But I think Holographic Thinking is very spacey. I like actually the intro. I was inspired by Emerson, Lake and Palmer Ouverture. It was filmed in '76 in the Olympic Stadium in Montreal, and that was my inspiration for the beginning of that song. Very spacey, in a major key, and then it developed more strange. There's a lot of dialogue between instruments as well, between the bass playing and the guitar playing, and I like that. I always like that in the music of Voivod, so that's an ingredient that I try to put in songs. The world today is pretty positive songs. There's so much tension in the world right now, everywhere, that it's easy to say hi and smile to someone that you don't know on the street, and it will enlighten the day.
That's another of the songs that surprised a little bit me, because there's some part, if I can remember correctly, with the keyboards that reminds me some progressive band or something like that.
Is there keyboards?
Yeah.
I don't. There's no keyboards on the album.
Maybe I'm confusing with another song, because in the last days I have time to listen to the album 4 or 5 times, and the label sent me just 5 days ago.
Yeah, no problem. Maybe it's a guitar element or an effect somewhere. Yeah. Well, there's emotions are not one dimension.
Yeah.
So if you always go with anger, frustration, anxiety, you don't express the whole spectrum of emotions. And I think a good song or a good album has contrasts. And if you feel when you write a song or a text, that's what you express going out to a song, and you're honest with it, why not? And that's the most important when you create. As a creator, you want to express yourself. So if you kind of censor yourself, then you kind of use censorship, which you don't want in the world, actually. So it's kind of contradictory to use censorship on yourself when you're an artist. That's what you don't try to do. So I welcome any kind of colors and emotions. Most of the songs are pretty dark. This one has a glimpse of light and hope, and I think it's a good thing too, because even though we point through fiction some very dark avenues, and I think we're all pretty much hopeful people, regardless.
Okay. 40 years of Voivod with different periods or eras. You mentioned previously you have been in the band during 13 years, but of all these periods of eras or records, do you have more? Do you prefer or to the songs to play live, or listening the albums, or just the structure of the songs? Do you enjoy any era in particular? I don't know. For example, the 2 records with Jason Newsted, or previous records, or I don't know, or more difficult to play, something like that.
Well, I appreciate every era of the band. I really like the Phobos album, by example, with Eric Forrest when they were a trio. I really like Killing Technology. That's the first cassette I bought in my life, I went to my bicycle at 11-year-old to the music shop, and I got money from Paperboy, delivering newspaper.
Really? The first one, Killing Technology. Wow.
Yeah. And I was amazed. I still have the cassette. It's pretty beaten. But for me, this one is very significant. And the first metal show I went to see in my life was Voivod during the Nothing Face tour. And so I'm a fan first. but I play in the band since 14 years. So now I'm a member. I write music in the band. So it's a very strange situation. I really like to play the intricate stuff. That the two shows we did in the streaming shows, Dimension Hate Rush and Nothing Phase, was perfect. Like it was really a dream come true for me to play the entire album. I really like X-Ray Mirror, one of the songs of Nothing Phase. It was, I think, some of the songs they never played live before, or really rarely. So it was really great. But I like to play the new stuff too, because I'm part of the composition, so I like to play the song that I wrote with the band. Of course, it's always a challenge to play new stuff too. It's exciting, especially stuff we didn't play at all. It's like the new album, we barely played the song together. So I can't wait to jam again and try them and see how it goes.
It could be very exciting to play the songs together.
Yes, exactly. We miss it, Yeah, we need to play.
Talking about this, let me ask you something as a fan of the band, because I don't know if you know something about a book called Damn the Machine, The History of Noise Records.
I know a little bit. I didn't read it though.
This is the book from Carl Walter Bach, the boss of this label in Europe. One of the best periods in thrash and even maybe in metal in Europe at the end of the 80s, because they have all the bands in that time in Europe: Creator, Halloween, Voivod, Running Wild, etc., etc., etc. And I mean, just to start to read the book, nothing still about Voivod, but I think could be very interesting things that they're explaining there, and just my curiosity about if you know something about this book or the histories concerning Voivod that could be there.
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking me.
No, just about if you know about the book or something.
I know about the book, but I didn't read it yet. I know that I think Away did the cover art for this book, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think he did the drawing, and that's pretty much all I know about the book. Sorry.
No, don't worry, because in the last years appears a lot of books of artists, of biographies, that is very, very interesting to read the histories with the labels, about the careers, the tools, the relation with another bands, and that is something that I think could be for veteran fans that like me or like you that are listening metal since the 80s. It's a kind of to know more about your bands.
Yeah, that's interesting. I understand. Yeah, actually, I will check it out at some point. But now that the metal genre is there since the last 50 years or so, almost, 40, 45 years, it's getting kind of old. It's an old genre, so it gets in the books, history books. Yeah. It's a good sign in a way, there's an actual history of a genre that says it's metal, and in the 80s it was barely recognized by the industry. Mm-hmm. In the early times of metal, it was kind of a really outcast, misfit kind of genre that was taking over slowly in the underground, and now it's bigger than ever. The biggest festivals, the biggest bands in the world are metal bands. It's quite an amazing journey. So yeah, it deserves to be in books and analyzed, and the story deserves to be told.
But I don't know in Canada, but here, at least in Catalonia or in Spain, metal are completely underrated on the media, on the big media, TVs or big radio station or big as always.
Yes, but then you go to a festival and there's thousands of people going to metal shows. So it's still an underground culture, but it's so successful that it became a business, a big business.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it deserves to be in books and history for sure. When in 100 years, 200 years, or maybe 5 years from now, alien flying saucer will come down to Earth, they need to know the story of metal, of heavy metal.
If an alien comes to the Earth, I'm sure that they will listen, Voivod. I'm sure.
Yeah, please take us. Take us to space.
Talking about other things, a few years ago appeared reissues of the first albums. I think it was in 2017, maybe. The band are involved in these releases, or it's just label things?
I think Voivod fans wanted the re-release to happen since a long time, because there was a lot of vinyls and CDs that were not available since a long time. But it's a matter of labels and rights, and it takes so long to arrange things between labels and artists and different labels, different albums, you know. And it's such great news that we were able to. I'm not playing on those albums, so it's not part of my rights or anything. But they were able to re-release some of the albums, like Outer Limits, and I think Angel Rat and Nothing Face is coming to vinyl as well. And there was also I've heard of a big fire in I think in the US, in California, that burned all the master tapes of many artists, and the Voivod tapes were there as well. So it was impossible to retrieve the tracks and remix and whatever remaster, but they could take what they had and re-release and remaster the music, I think. And I think it's good for the fans, because I always wanted an Angel Rat and a Nothing Face vinyl. I didn't have the chance to have it in the past, so it's a good thing.
This is good news for some of our listeners, because yesterday I was talking with a listener, and okay, what next interviews you have? Tomorrow I'm talking with Voivod. Okay, ask about our re-release of Angel Rat.
Yeah,
this is true.
It's
ask
gonna
me,
come
ask
soon.
me about this, and also I'm interested in this material, as you said. And
I think it's on Real Gone Music. That's the label that's gonna be on.
And talking about releases, years ago we had the edition of DVD 1 with material of the first years. I don't know if the band have any plan for a future release of. I don't know if the name could be DVD 2, or maybe a live show in Blu-ray, for example. I said it because in the last year you released the live album, and you mentioned about the live streamings. Could be
actually, and I will have to go after this because there's another interview in 1 minute for me.
Oop.
But I will tell you that everything that's related to Voivod, all the videos we did, the streaming, some of it will be available on voivod.com website.
Okay.
And all the news will be there, and on the Voivod Facebook as well. We want to share the streaming shows, of course, because not everybody have seen it, and we want to make sure that it's not on YouTube by someone who recorded it and put it back there. And we kind of protective of our own performances, and so it's going to be available in a great format, good quality of sound, and official. So it's going to be on voivod.com for all the fans to enjoy very soon. And there's a documentary in the process called We Are Connected, and it's a work in progress since many years, so it's going to come out at some point, maybe next year. And there's a book also that Jeff Wagner is writing for Voivod, the history of the band and all that. So a lot of positive things going on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I guess you have another interview right now.
Yes, I'm very sorry.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much,
Danny.
All right, peace.
Bye.
Bye-bye.